Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of eDiscovery After Hours and for putting up with the fact that my voice sounds like a stuffed up bullfrog. I have been chugging Sudafed for the last 24 hours. Luckily, my incredible guest this week more than makes up for it. It's Nikolai Poznikov from vDiscovery. And we talked about the really important things in life, which is to say guitar, Guinness, and the incredible high quality content that he puts out on LinkedIn every week. So you get an insight into what his creative process and production process looks like in those. So obviously so many of us like and share and comment on those every week. So hopefully this is a great segment for you. Hey, the sponsor this week is Discovery Master. If you're working in relativity and you've got multiple projects to track, whether they are in the same instance or across hosting parties and vendors across the country or across the globe, with one login, you can see everything. Check out www.discoverymaster.co. Thanks for tuning in.
Quick time!
You don't know how to drink, your whole generation.
Drinks on the house.
Yes, sir.
No, wait a second. Drinks are 50% off.
Right.
No, wait a second. Double the price of everything.
And I work only 16 hours a day.
A union man only works 8 hours a day.
I belong to 2 unions.
And now, eDiscovery After Hours with your host, Ryan Short.
All right. Well, Nikolai, thanks for coming on the show. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Glad to be on the show.
You selected the beverage, but then you disguised it with your flowery mug.
I will reveal what it actually is. So
there we go. I love it.
Unfortunately, I don't have any beer glasses. I have whiskey glasses and wine glasses, and Guinness does not go into any of those.
I have a bunch at home. I'm in my office, but I have a bunch at home that just collect dust. Because at home, it's always wine or whiskey for me. But in the office, they've got, we're fancy around here. We're no drinking out of bottles. Come on. So yeah, all right. So why are we drinking Guinness? What's the story there? Is there a story, or are you just like outs?
No, there is no story. Guinness is a good beer to drink when I really want beer. You know, when you've been on this like long family trip, you've been driving from Vermont for 7 hours with kids, and you get home and you like I just want a proper beer, right? That's where Guinness comes in. Other times I'll go for something lighter. I can drink Stella. I can drink just the lagers, regular lagers.
Yeah.
But Guinness is my choice when I want like real proper beer.
So I'm kind of the same way. I span the gamut of beer. I don't like anything that's real hoppy, but I like a lot of ales and ambers. And then I got into porters and stouts later, as it's typically an acquired taste. And when I was getting ready to go to Dublin, everybody told me, you got to get Guinness there. It tastes better in Dublin. I'm like, it tastes the same. It's beer. I was wrong. It absolutely tastes better in Dublin.
Yeah.
So if you haven't been, put it on your bucket list, because
I will keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's damn fine. So, all right, Nikolai, where are you from originally?
I'm originally from St. Petersburg, Russia.
St. Petersburg. All right.
Yeah.
And now you are in the New York metro area somewhere. Whereabouts are you?
Correct. I'm in New York City. I'm actually in Brooklyn.
Oh, nice. All right, cool. So what is the path from St. Petersburg to Brooklyn?
Well, I was 14 years old and my parents came to America and I kind of came with them. It's not like I had a say in anything. It's just that's what had happened. And there is unfortunately no long immigrant story that we were on a ship and had to dive off the side and swim to the shores. It's we flew on a plane, came to New York, and here I am.
I have a friend whose mom is from Paris, and people would be like, "Oh, what brought you to America?" And she'd be like, "A plane."
Yeah.
Just very much like just sidestep the whole story of the decision making and whatever. Just plane. Okay.
Yeah, it's same for me. My parents, they made decisions. There were circumstances, and just things happened, and here we are.
Yeah, and you're a kid, and they're like, if you want to eat, you're going to come with us. And you say, let's do it. Let's go. So have you been in New York City then since you came to the States?
St. Petersburg, you mean?
Oh, sorry. I don't know what I said. Have you been in New York City since you immigrated to the States? Have you lived in New York the whole time?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes, I have lived in New York City all the time. Yes.
How many Guinnesses have you had before the show?
No, that is the wrong question. How many calls I had before this Guinness is the right answer. Probably on the fifth one today.
I just had the worst brain fog. Regular listeners, all four of them will hear that my voice sounds a little different. I've been chugging Sudafed for like the last 24 hours and I have the worst brain fog right now. And I got right before we got on here, I got off the phone with an AmLaw 10 firm and they asked me a question that I've answered a million times. And I just kind of stared blankly and they're like, "Yeah, you there?" I'm like, "Oh yeah. I think it's this thing." And there was some stares. I'm like, "I didn't answer the question you asked, did they?" So it's one of those days. So we're all good.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. So what's your path to e-discovery? How did that happen?
It's through computers. It's through technology. I even when I was in Russia, actually, shortly before leaving, one of my neighbors got this computer called ZX Spectrum, and you had to use audio cassette tapes to load programs onto it. It's hard to explain now to people how that would even work, but that was a thing, right? And I took interest to that, and I was like, that's an interesting thing. It's like, can you build me one of those? And so he did. I paid him. It was mostly his thing, and I started kind of playing around with programming. And then when I came to America, and as soon as I was able to afford a computer, I went back to kind of, playing games, doing programming, just tinkering with things. And when I went to college, I majored in computer programming. And once I was in school, one of the companies were looking for like a technical person, somebody to help with computers, this and that. And I went for an interview, having no clue that it's a support company. They just said, they just need help with computers. And so I told them like what I know, what I don't know. I did not know networks. I knew all the hardware, like I was totally honest with them. And they're like, "All right, well, we'll hire you." I was like, "Oh, really? Okay." And so,
are you sure? Do you want to back out?
Yeah. And the first thing, they gave me a stack of floppies, and they said, "Well, this was backed up with some kind of software we never knew before, PC backup or something. Like, do you know what to do with this?" I'm like, "I actually use it for my personal computer. I know exactly what to do with this." And I started restoring all the floppies, and they getting data copied over. Yeah, and then from there it just escalated, like, "Hey, can you do this?" I'm like, "All right, let's take a look. Can you use Excel? I don't know. Let's see, what are you making? An OPT file? Let's take a look at it." And it was getting, further and further every day. And it went from being a support person to computers to actually doing like creating load files and supporting scanning people, coding staff, people who would actually type stuff in from a paper.
Yeah.
Building DAT files and LFPs and OPTs and all those fun things.
So are you still a gadget guy to this day? Like, do you always have the latest product from Apple? And I mean, obviously you caught the bug early.
Yeah. I try to balance it. I definitely do have plenty of gadgets. I have not the latest phones because I'm trying to be careful where I spend my money on, because now I'm into making videos, right? I have different cameras and I have way too many tripods. I think I have a tripod problem right now. It's a weird problem, but I think I have tripods from this small to that, every size. But yeah, I definitely have a lot of gadgets, but not necessarily the latest and the greatest.
Yeah. So I want you mentioned videos. I wanted to get here. So we're going to circle back. This will be a disjointed interview because I want to follow your lead. And I mean, we may come back to something earlier in life, but
sure.
You are one of the most prolific LinkedIn content creators, I think, in the e-discovery space. And you run the gamut of everything from what I would consider to be fairly technical to, hey, here's the kinds of projects that salespeople probably shouldn't bring to their PMs, and kind of the whole gamut from everything in between. And it's so well done And I think if you had tried it, 6, 7, 8 years ago, it wouldn't have been as well received. But as the podcast culture has caught on, as these YouTubers have become more popular, this kind of more, I'll consider it long form, so to speak, right? 6, 8, 10 minutes videos that you post about something fairly technical. I eat those things up. I love them. What made you start? Yeah, you're welcome. What made you start doing that? And then talk a little bit about the creative process as you think through, what am I going to talk about? Like, do you plan out and script stuff? You always have. The first couple of times I was fascinated that you would like change camera angles. I mean, this is serious stuff. So talk to us a little bit about where those ideas came from and what the process is like.
So the way I got into it is I started doing family videos, and I was just documenting like where we go, vacations, and I was just filming random things, right? Just making clips. And then I learned all about like how people create vlogs. And I wanted to do that, like more of that, do B-roll, do music, kind of mix it all up. So I learned to do that in a family setting, right? And then I wanted to take that further and say, well, I can do that. I film my kids, I film us going skiing with friends. I want to see if I can come up with something for lit support. And the first thing I started is just doing like technical tips, because that's kind of what I know. I'm a tech guy. So I started sharing like, all right, how do you make a directory list? How do you make this and that? That didn't go too well. I guess I wasn't that known. I know people still come back to those videos and check them out once in a while when they Google search for it. So I started doing technical videos, but then I was kind of running out of ideas. And I said, all right, let me do something like where I pick like a topic that I'm kind of passionate about, like, let's take deduplication, and how we're doing it wrong and how we're going to have duplicates all over, something like that, and just talk about it. And so I started filming them, and I filmed maybe about like 10 episodes, and I just didn't like them. And I just throw them all out. I waited another 6 months, and then I started filming again. And then I started seeing like, okay, that's looking more interesting. Like I started doing better in front of camera. Like it's becoming more. I started liking what I'm making, And if I go back to the previous ones, the ones I liked, I'm sure I would have hated them. But so when I started like posting these short videos talking about just absolutely random topic that relates to lit support, and sometimes it veers off a little bit here and there, but once I had that going, I started making lists. So all the YouTubers, they all have their lists, right? And the best thing I do is I always have my phone, right? There's a notes app, and you're doing something completely unrelated. You're sitting in the waiting room somewhere, or you're in the car, and you go, oh, and you just have to write it down, right? And it is critical step. You have to, as soon as the idea pops in your head, you write it down.
Yeah.
Right. That's probably the most like the important part in my content creation is capturing all the ideas that pop in my head. If I don't write it down, it'll probably just go away. And as I accumulate these lists, right? So each video idea has a few number of bullet points. And once I have enough bullet points per topic, then I kind of push it up and say, all right, let me give it a try, see how it's going to work. And that's kind of how I arrived at my videos. And topics could be like from anything that something happened at work, or we'll try to bring some of the history back, right? Some of the things that I can talk about now that like, there are a number of things I would love to talk about, but things are happening like at my job right now. And it's
the
not necessarily...
names and locations have been changed to protect the innocent.
That is exactly it. I do change it. I do change names and genders and so on.
Yeah.
But still, like, now that my channels are getting popular, people will pick up on that, and it will be like, oh, didn't we have this email communication back and forth a few weeks ago? Like, I'm sure that's gonna happen. So I try to be careful not to like, I have to give it time to sit there for a while.
Now, so let's say you've got a 5 or 6 minute video. Do you plan out like a script, or do you write down a bunch of bullet points, or do you just have a topic and you just start talking?
I have a topic and 3 to 5 bullet points.
That's exactly the right way to do it, right? Yeah. Because it doesn't matter to me if you are a salesperson, a public speaker, if you're making content like that. If you were trying to memorize something word for word, it's going to be stilted. You're going to be nervous. You're going to be second guessing yourself. But you just have those concepts and you just trust the process. I love that.
Yep. Is that the right thing I said? Did I say it exactly? I didn't say it exactly. And sometimes I could talk about a bullet point, and then I was like, no, that didn't come out right. Let me do it again. And I just do it again. And it may come out in different words, it comes out differently. And then I'll just pick the second take.
Yeah.
And so I adopted this sort of model where I always start by walking and talking like a vlog style, right? And in the middle, the bullet points are where the camera is on the tripod. I change the camera angles between bullet points, and then I walk and talk for the outro. Very simple, that's what I've been doing.
Now, another thing, Nikolai, is you kind of ratted on yourself a couple of weeks ago. You said that your wife and kids were sick of you doing this, like on family hikes.
Yeah. So one of the things I do, this is the other trick for getting interesting locations, is I can't always bring my big camera with me all the time. And some of these videos I film on my phone. So it's iPhone 11. But what I do is I have a wireless microphone and I use it with both cameras. So all I need to do is bring wireless microphone and like a selfie stick or like a little tripod that the phone can go on, and I can bring that with me everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And this way, if I have 3 minutes or maybe we are going hiking and I didn't want to bring my big camera, I can tell like my family, like, hey, hang out here for a few minutes. I'll be right back. He's like, are you going to the bathroom? No, I'm going to make a video. And so then I just walk away and I do that video, and then I come back. It's like, are you done? You're done yet? Like, yeah, I'm done. Okay, all right, let's keep going. Something like that. But yeah, they do get annoyed. And I do make family vlogs too, and they get annoyed at that too. It's like, oh, you're telling me to walk? No, wait, you want me to stop? Okay, yes, stop right now. Okay, wait, let me put the camera. Okay, now walk. All right, fine.
Director dad here.
Yeah.
How old are your kids?
They're 8 and 11.
Okay, so just wait, man. They're not even teenagers yet. Wait till they really start getting annoyed with you.
Yeah. So, but they're okay for now. Like by now, they know. Like, look, I'm gonna make a video. Just give me a few minutes. I'll be back in or something like that.
Yeah.
They're unhappy, but yeah.
So you've got 2 young kids. You live in New York City, right in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. But a lot of these videos are, they're outdoors. You're at a beach, you're on a hiking trail, you're whatever. Do you and your wife, do you guys make a concerted effort to get out and be active in the weekends, right? Because in addition to having young kids in the city, you also have a quote unquote desk job where you're staring at screens all day. So if you're like me, Saturday and Sunday, it's like I'm outside as much as humanly possible. Do you have that same kind of thing?
That's exactly right. Yeah, me and my wife will love to be outdoors. We'll love to go hiking.
Yeah.
So we'll do skiing in the winter. We always go somewhere, and that gives me that opportunity to actually capture some of these really cool locations, like top of the mountain somewhere, or just in the woods. I mean, over and over in the woods gets kind of boring, but
yeah. It's still a dramatic change. Before we started recording, you promised that there was going to be traffic noise, and I thought, oh, I doubt it picks that up. And within 60 seconds of you talking, somebody was laying on the horn outside your window. So you got to get out and get some different sounds there.
So that creates another challenge for editing videos. I don't even know if the horn is outside or in the video. I'm like, so that's for the technical videos that I do, like the tech tips. Yeah, because I film them here, so there are horns everywhere, and I kind of accept it. Look, there's going to be some noise. There's nothing you can do. And I'm sharing valuable stuff here. You can forgive me for a little bit. But yeah.
All right. So this is a familiar background to anybody who's followed you over LinkedIn, certainly for the last year, maybe longer. So I have to ask, are you actually a guitar player?
Oh, so well, there is a little bit of a story there too, and we can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we got nothing but time, man. Let's go.
All right. So the thing with guitar. So yeah, it's a real guitar. It's not just a prop. Yes, I can play it. I'm not good at it. But the way I got into that is maybe 15 years ago, I bought a guitar. Right. And the reason why I got it is, you know how you like have different musical instruments, you have like a piano, you come up to it to smash some keys, you're like, oh yeah, it makes noise, cool, walk away, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're all done it. And I've done that with a guitar, like at a party, I picked it up, I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I kind of like this, right? And I never done anything with it. And about 15 years ago, I decided like, all right, I have some time. Let me see what that's all about. And so I went to Best Buy and I got like the cheapest guitar, like $100 guitar and amp combo. All right, so it's like a $70 guitar. So you can imagine what quality that is. But it was playable and was fine. I was able to tune it. And so I was messing about with that for maybe 3-4 years. And I've kind of gotten okay with it, but then the problem was I had no direction. I was trying to work with some teachers and some of them wanted to teach songs and some of them would teach like random things. I had no direction. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I learned a bunch of chords I was kind of able to play, but then my first son was born, then we moved. And at that point I put everything away for like 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And last summer, about a year ago, I pulled that guitar out of storage and I said, all right, let me see what this thing is. And then I started playing and I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm kind of liking this. This is fun. And then I found this app called Musician, where it's like a Guitar Hero, but for a real guitar.
Ah.
Yeah, so that was very interesting. And that had like gave me this plan, right? You go from easy to medium to hard. It has problems, right? It doesn't replace a teacher, but it was really cool. And so I started playing with that app, and I really loved it. Like I was absolutely into it. And that's when I said, you know what? I need a better guitar. And so I went to a store and I was just trying different ones, and I settled on this. This is basically the cheapest Gibson guitar you can get, pretty much cheapest. That's a Gibson Sg Tribute. It's still expensive, but the reason why I got it is because I didn't want to have any excuses. I wanted to know if there is a problem, it's me.
Yeah, there you go.
I didn't want to say like, well, it was a $200 guitar, so it seemed okay, but no, it's not okay. I think it's the problem with guitar. I need a better one. Like I wanted to make sure if there is an issue, it's my fault.
It's the craftsman, not the tool.
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure I have a good tool so I have no excuses. And so now it's been like a year to year and a half. I would say I'm a past beginner stage, and I could probably play like a song if I practice something.
Yeah.
But I'm still not entirely sure where exactly I fit in the skill level. So yes, to answer your question in a really long way, I can play lots of chords. I can play some songs. I can do simple solos, but I'm not that great at it to perform publicly.
So you're telling me if I have you back on, we couldn't just do like a story hour where we just sing songs to each other back and forth, like old folk tales and.
I'm not sure if I'm ready for that yet. Maybe if we're not recording, we can we can jam together. But
duly noted. That's funny.
Yeah, but I enjoy it. This is something that I like. I like picking it up and just playing once in a while. So,
what kind of music do you listen to? What do you like?
It's more of a general, like a rock style, and things that go with rock. Like maybe towards metal a little bit, and. I'm really weird as far as my music taste because I don't like individual bands. I like songs. And when people say I'm such a fan of this band, I'm like, okay, I like 3 of their songs, or I like a couple of songs from them, a couple of songs from this, but I never like a fan of a band, and
that's interesting. So I have varied tastes. Like if you got into my accounts and were shuffling through, you'd have like a bluegrass act from the 40s, followed by Metallica, followed by like Natalie Imbruglia, followed by a swing band. Like I used to have bands I would get really into, but then you have kids and you stop paying attention, and your life is not your own. You know, you're just making money to feed the kids.
I have a lot of really random songs on my phone too. Like they really vary. This is what I'm saying, where I like specific songs.
Yeah.
You know, and Metallica and all kinds of stuff.
That's funny. All right. So Nikolai, I always like, before we sign off, to give the guest a chance to get on their soapbox and opine. As we discussed, you kind of do that professionally, right? When you're semi-professionally in your LinkedIn videos, but is there anything kind of e-discovery or lit support related that you want to say to folks before we sign off?
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on.
My pleasure.
I have basically, you could say, two jobs. My primary job, I work at the V-Discovery, which is an e-discovery vendor. So if anybody is in need of lit support services, you know, all that stuff, then definitely contact me and V-Discovery. But my second job is #legal, where I make YouTube and LinkedIn videos. So follow, subscribe, give thumbs up, leave a comment. Ring the bell, do all those things. And I do sell different apps on my website, which is #legal.com. So definitely check it out. I have things that are free and things that are paid.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. It was, as I came into the industry and became aware of who you are, I realized very quickly it was above my head. And then after a couple of months, I came back and I actually understood it. So there you go. And you're much better at the self-promotion than I am. I'm terrible about reminding people to like and subscribe and ring the bell, but do all those things for Nikolai, and then don't forget to do it for me too.
Absolutely. For this video, definitely.
Awesome. Nikolai, thanks again for coming on.
All right. No problem. Thank you.